Celestite is a stone that interacts with our third eye in a unique and groundbreaking new way. Generally, we think of the angelic realm when we think of Celestite, or we think of how we are able to connect to the best of those that have crossed over. But my experience with Celestite has been that it's the stone that reflects the symbolism of the lotus. The lotus shows us a true gem that comes out of the mud. Celestite shows us that within the worst of all our creations is a true gem waiting to be found and washed up. Celestite is the stone that shows us that the gem could not form without the mud. This shows us that all the things we think are wrong with us, all the issues we see within ourselves, are truly our very best resources. The vibration of the stone shows us how to use those things that we see as our worst or most negative aspects to our own advantage when we are creating our reality. Celestite helps us to visualize the parts of ourselves that we judge to be wrong, to be low vibration, to be the things we should fix about ourselves, and it helps us to recreate that vision. Using the Celestite, we are able to see new aspects and perspectives on the things we had previously judged as wrong. Celestite brings the vibration of seeing who we are because of where we are, which is easily shifted to seeing who we want to be because of who we've been. This concept is one that assists us in the worldly wealth of intelligence. Intelligence isn't about what we know, it's about how we use what we know. Intelligence cannot be taught, it can only be cultivated. Celestite shows us how to intelligently cultivate the person we want to be. Slightly different than Sugilite that shows us who we will be, Celestite asks us to create that for ourselves, define our own boundaries, our own beliefs, and our own limitations of who we are. Celestite is an invaluable stone for seeing new perspectives on old thought patterns. As we find ourselves tapping into the energy of the Celestite, what we find is that we are seeing the purpose of where we are, the experience we are gathering by the knowledge we're using. We see a new perspective on what our intelligence is. We learn a new energy of what our true resources are. Our true resources are the very things we consider our shadow selves, the very parts of ourselves we find the hardest to accept. When we learn to see those parts of ourselves as the very best parts of ourselves, we've mastered the art of alchemy. Using those parts of ourselves, once judged to be the darker sides of ourselves, to bring energy in for the purpose of utilizing it in the way we choose, this is an example of using our bullcrap as our biggest resource. As we learn to see our deepest fears about ourselves as our biggest energy boost, we learn to use that energy boost in any direction we choose. It doesn't mean that we no longer judge ourselves. It doesn't mean we no longer see these parts of us as wrong. It means we recognize the value of the energy created by the very things we prefer to hold within ourselves. This means we learn that energy is just energy. It doesn't matter what kind of energy we utilize, because when it's recognized for what it is, then we are able to see it for what it is. Just energy.